Hello, lovely people. New adventure unlocked. I'm headed to the next game. My mama's here. We're going to Aqua Zumba. I am getting out of my comfort zone. I am trying fencing today. I'm just there for the vibes. I know nothing about baseball. I'm there for the vibes. Hello, lovely people. Listen, Linda, listen. It is nighttime. I'm about to be on travel tomorrow for a speaking engagement. So I am trying to knock out this video. I am reviewing episode 7, Life After Lockup. It's something about this episode, at least towards the end, that made me feel a type of way. Like I was really emotional. Okay, wow. Yeah, I am so dramatic. Okay, I wasn't really emotional, but I did get teary-eyed. It's like, I'm a Libra, and Lord, I always have to be so dramatic about something. I was so emotional. Girl, I had some teary-eye moments. I didn't boo-hoo cry, but I really kept thinking, there's so many messaging in this episode about, it gives you a tiny bit of glimpse, because while we cannot compare the Chrisleys to your average family that is impacted by incarceration, because I recognize there is a difference, it gives you a tiny glimpse of what happens when someone gets out. Now, last episode, I was really pissed off that they had all those extra people there when Julie and Todd came home. And I was hoping that this episode they would have addressed it, but again, it's been a couple of days after that aftermath. So anyway, can I say that Todd looks good? Even when he was leaving prison, I was like, this man, listen, I don't know what his facial regimen was in prison, but he looks good. Okay, Julie did too. I like the brunette on her, but child, Julie went right back to blonde. Like, I think like probably the next day she had the stylist on speed down, like, or the colorist on speed down, like, hello? Yeah, I'm out. Why are you not at my door at 6 a.m. trying to color this hair back to blonde? Like, Julie went back quick, fast, and in a hurry. But they talk about the things that they took for granted and the little freedoms that they get, having their own routine. Julie talks about being able to go to the pantry when she wants, cook what she wants, not prison food. But here's what I'm going to say. What we are seeing is that Julie needs time. I don't agree with her being thrust in front of the public. She clearly needed time. Also, it is true that men get treated better in the prison system than women do. So Todd had people going to go get him Chick-fil-A and Pizza Hut and whatever. So he had an easier time than Julie did. And you can tell because Todd just jumped right into it. Like 2 days after they were released, they did a press conference. And I like that Julie did not do the press conference. Like, she needed to spend time with Chloe and Grayson. Like, she needed to be home, right? Now, Todd and Savannah are on their way to the press conference, and their lawyer, Alex Little, calls and it's like, listen, we need to talk about messaging. You got a bunch of deals in the works, so don't talk about how, like, the DOP, Department of Prison, sucks and all that other stuff, right? And I'm like, y'all know y'all cannot reel Todd in. Todd is going to go rogue. And that's exactly what he did. I said to myself, yeah, Todd's going to go rogue. And Todd was like, when Todd hung up the phone, Todd was like, I can't believe somebody's trying to tell us how to do press. And Savannah was like, yeah, sometimes you say things that may, get us in a little hot water. So curve it. And the lawyer is right. Look, they just got out of prison and it's a bunch of people looking at them, people asking them for interviews. So Savannah was like, look, let's just do this one press conference and just kill all the birds with one stone. Okay. Now they talk about um, Todd's anxiety. You can clearly see that Julie has anxiety, but Todd has anxiety too. And Todd basically was like, he felt overwhelmed at Nordstrom's, because it was the public chasing him. So I can understand that part. And even though they were gone for 2 years, I mean, when you're free, there are changes that you see all the time, but you don't even pay attention to it. Construction here, a new store being built, um, uh, things just changing, houses being built. But when you've been gone for a long time, it's a reality. Like, life does not stop when you're incarcerated. Like, things keep moving forward, you know. They also talked about Alice Johnson, who I love, and I said in the last episode, she is a pardon Cesar for Trump. I really, really hope that in the season 2 that Alice Johnson does make a cameo. I think, her story is amazing. I know she was on the Kardashians show, but because she helped get Todd and Julie out, I do think she needs to make a cameo on the show. So when they did the press conference, I love that Todd thanked God first. Okay. Then, of course, you have to thank Trump because that's the man that got him out of prison. And then he thanked Alice Johnson. So I like that. I thought that Todd did a very good job with the press conference, spoke very well, and also checked the reporter that was like, do you have anything to say for your actions, or do you have any remorse for your actions that led to your conviction? And he said, I would have remorse if I did something, if I did what they're saying I'm doing. So Todd is sticking to his guns. He's standing his ground like, I did nothing wrong, and I'm about to show y'all that I did nothing wrong. Hey. But I do like that, he's talked about the people that he met in prison, and they're basically like, why is this hair sticking up? They're basically like his family now, and they said to him, please don't forget us. And, he hasn't. So it sounded like the press conference went very well. And so Todd said like his prison family, that's what I'm gonna call it, send him a text saying, you look good, thank you, Now, I will say, how are they texting you? But, I told y'all in the last episode that I may or may not have had an ex that was in prison at one time. And, he didn't always call me from the prison phone. And I'll just leave it at that because I'm not trying to incriminate myself. I was like, how did you ask no questions? So, hey, I'm no snitch. So Julie Todd calls Julie, and Todd's like, hey, did you see the press conference? And Julie's like, oh no, I was in the pantry. Todd's like, hello. And so when they hang up, Todd is like, yeah, Julie needs to be in therapy. So everybody is aware that Julie is having a tough time. Now, if she was my client and I was seeing her, I would diagnose her with adjustment disorder. An adjustment disorder basically means that a traumatic event has happened or something has happened and the person is having difficulty adjusting and reacting to it, So definitely a prison sentence. Now, I don't know if I would diagnose her with adjustment disorder with depression. You know what? Actually, I take that back. And again, I've not evaluated her, but it would look like I would diagnose her with adjustment disorder with anxiety. Because Julie doesn't seem depressed, she seems more anxious. And I'll talk about that later on. I think Todd also had an easier time because in his head, like he said, in his mind, he was never in prison. In his head, he was getting out earlier. The mind is a very, very powerful thing. And your body and your everything, you're going to react to what you tell yourself. So in Todd's mind, I was getting out. I was not serving those 12 years. You see what I'm saying? But Julie, she was like, well, I'm just going to serve my time. So clearly the prison did a number on her, But Julie's also very self-aware. And she talks about like, hey, my kids keep saying I'm different. Of course I'm going to be different, coming out of prison, So she's aware that, she's having a difficult time. And I do wish that they would show Julie talking about how she needs to get in therapy. Mama Pam talks about how she expected Todd and Julie to be when they got out is not what is happening. And that makes her very sad. And I was like, bravo. Bravo, Mama Pam. You are showing some emotions. You are identifying your mood and your emotions. You feel sad. Kudos. But I'm also very confused about something. Todd said that Mama Pam and Papa Hughes did not come to see him when he was in prison. I thought Papa Hughes said that Todd told him he didn't want them to see him in prison. So I'm very confused. Somebody's not being honest. Because Todd, if you told them not to see you in prison, why are you bringing it up? Right? Now, here is the bone of contention that I have with Papa Hughes. Papa Hughes and Mama Pam went out to get some ice cream. Mama Pam was like, yeah, we don't date. That's just not our thing. That's not in nature. And I'm like, are you okay with that? Like, give me some more stuff. Like, you okay with that? Like, she's like, that's just not our thing. We used to go out and eat a lot, but, we don't really do that. So going out to eat could be considered a date. But I don't know. Again, like, I just feel like Mama Pam is just waiting for that man to die. She's just waiting. Anyway, so here is what I don't understand. Todd is the one that got out of prison. You left before this man came home. And you're waiting for him to call you. You know he's out. So why are you not picking up the phone and saying, hey, I know you're out. I know I didn't get to see you the night that you came home, but can we come over? He's talking about we don't want to crowd him out. Not crowding them out and having a courtesy phone call are two different things. You can't even send a text. You can't even call. Maybe it's an old school thing. Like, he's like, I got to see him in person. I don't know. I don't get it. It's something going on. And I honestly feel that Julie's parents don't like Todd, never liked Todd. We know that they didn't want Julie to marry Todd, okay? But I also understand it's been 30 years. And I wonder if they have resentment towards Todd for Julie being incarcerated. It's kind of like, if my daughter had never married you, she wouldn't be in this situation. And I feel like there's something there because it doesn't make sense how your son-in-law has been home. You all have talked to Julie, but you all have not talked to him. So it is something that, it's something that it's something that they're not saying. I don't know. I don't find Papa Hughes funny because he was like, oh, it's like if I didn't see you for 2 years, I'd have to tell all my other girlfriends that my wife. I was just like, again, I get Asperger-ish from Papa Hughes. Because first I want to be like, he's emotionally immature, but I'm like, no, I suspect that he has some undiagnosed Asperger-ish or something. I don't know. But production asked Papa Hughes about leaving before Todd came. And he's like, oh, well, Pam had to work. And I think I was subbing that day. And they came like early in the morning. I don't care. Mama Pam, you should have called out the next day. Mama Pam, you should have taken off of work. I'm not coming. My daughter's coming home from prison. That's non-negotiable. Papa Hughes, those kids will be all right. So to me, it sounds like a bunch of BS. And again, it's something that they're not saying or something that they don't want us to know. But they do not like Todd. Papa Hughes have also made comments about Todd being this, oh, I thought he was a sissy when I first met him. And he's all shot up with Botox. And I think they think that Todd is too Hollywood. Yeah. But Mama Pam talks about how she knows that Julie is struggling. And, Papa Hughes is like, how do you know? And she's like, I know you're my daughter. Yeah. So Mama Pam, what you need to do is call your daughter and say, you know what, hey, baby, I'm coming over. But again, Mama Pam is not very assertive, right? Like, I think she's been trained to be just docile and just whatever people tell me to do, I'm going to do. No, your daughter is back home. This is where you take charge, no matter how old she is, since I'm coming to see you. Let's go out for lunch, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, but Julie basically talks about her biggest contention with her dad is Chase. Because as we know, Papa Hughes enables Chase and makes excuses for Chase and has a codependency with Chase because of losing Trey, right? Which he's admitted to. And all the families have told him. So it's kind of like Chase could do no wrong in his eyes, which is a very dangerous thing because if you're dealing with somebody that has an addiction issue, the last thing that he needs around him is a bunch of enablers. And it sounds like that's what Papa Hughes is a huge enabler to Chase. So I agree with Julie there. If I'm trying to do something with my child, you need to stand beside me. But instead, he's basically always siding with Chase. So yeah, if I was with Julie, I would have a bone of contention to pick with you as well. Anyway, the producers also asked Todd and Julie how they felt seeing each other. And of course, Todd is always on joke time. He's like, oh, I saw her hair was hideous. She needed to get rid of it. Like, why did you go brunette? And Todd, who do you think is going to color her hair? And even if they colored her hair in prison, it's going to be jacked up, But Todd makes a joke about them doing it, like I think Todd uses humor a lot. It's one thing that's kept them like married for a long time. But sometimes, like Todd, you don't always need to be on joke time because I thought it was a little bit like, listen, that's Julie's man, her man, her man, her man. She knows how Todd rolls, so whatever. But we go to Savannah and Julie, and they are at this women conference. And can I say, I love Savannah's suit. That green number, was it Gucci? I don't know. She looked bomb in that outfit. So I don't agree with Julie going to the conference. And I don't agree with Savannah saying like, yeah, mom is, struggling, but you just like babies, when you teach them how to swim, you throw them in the water. That's what you got to do with mom. No, it does not work like that. If anything, that is more traumatic. And I also feel as though Julie should have said, you know what, like, I'll come with you to the conference, but I can't come on stage. And Savannah should have respected that. If you notice, Julie kept doing, that's anxiety. Or a slight panic like attack. But I don't say she was having a panic attack. When you feel like you have to catch your breath, she did it a few times when she was backstage watching Savannah. That are signs of high anxiety. And honestly, she's at the point where I would have recommended some medication for her. And she doesn't have to be on medication for forever, but the medication would help her to sort of like get over that hump. Like a low dose of like Xanax or something like that, because she's clearly struggling, and to thrust her with all those people asking for hugs. You have to understand, she talks about Lexington, the prison, was a small space, a small group of women, right? And everything was just confined, right? Her mind has been in confinement for 2.5 years. Right? So now she's been given free reign. There's a bunch of people coming up to her. One of the things that you also don't do with somebody that's incarcerated is people coming up to you from all directions. Like, that's very overwhelming, And I think this is where maybe they need to bring Sharita back. Sharita came a couple episodes ago. This is Julie's friend from prison that said, do not underestimate the person that's coming back. I think Sharita needs to come back, be with Julie, and talk to Savannah and the family about like, hey, this is what I was telling you, like baby steps, But Julie talks about she has talked to some of the women that she was incarcerated with, and they told her it took them about a good 6 months. And let me correct this. It takes about a good, It takes about a good 6 months to a year for you really to start feeling like yourself. Right? So, and it also depends on circumstances. Julie has a great support system, which is a protective factor after incarceration. Some people don't have a good support system, but it takes about a good 6 months to a year. Also, Julie talks about the women that she met in the prison system, she basically like mothered them. And one of the letters to her, one of the girls was like, "Who's gonna mom us?" Right? These are women that maybe didn't have the good background, good family life, and they look to Julie as a mother, right? So it's a transition, and I feel like they really should spend some time to talk about how difficult that transition process is with the children, right? Not just Julie talking about how difficult the adjustment is, but I wish they would have shot a scene where Julie's talking about how difficult the transition has been for her, you know? Now, they talk about their prison experience, and immediately you could see the contrast. Like, the girls rallied around Julie, the guys rallied around Todd, but Todd kind of got more of like the celebrity treatment, Like Todd said in his podcast, Shaw, he was sending people to get food and stuff like that, But Sharita also talked about like once you get sentenced and you meet your fate, there's kind of like a relief, which Todd talks about. It's like you're at peace, like a sense of peace for them because now they have their sentence, they've got their time, and they've got to start doing it, And Todd talks about how when his family came to visit him, there was this little black boy that ran up to Todd and gave him a big hug. And the mother was like, Chauncey. And Todd said, he's fine. And the mom was like, oh, we watch you all the time. He watches you all the time. And so it's like they took him in and he became a part of the family. Now, Todd's known to take in a black child or two. So, every time it sounds like Todd was in visitation, Chauncey would be in visitation and he would hold Chauncey. Well, 4 months in, the warden said to Todd, you can't hold him. And Todd said, why? Is it because he's black? And the warden was like, you can't hold him. So that basically triggered Todd to start paying attention to things. So it looks like before he was in his own kind of world, getting his privilege, getting all his things of the things. Then he started paying attention to things and seeing how he was treated versus how the other inmates were treated, right? So he started reporting things to his Barbara Walters, aka Savannah, and Savannah, and thus in turn went and was publicly outing what was happening. Now, Savannah's first live news show was on Fox News, and Savannah basically said what was going on. So the Department of Corrections came out and basically contradicted everything that Savannah said, basically saying it's not true. So that basically lit a fire under her, and she was like, okay, I'll show you. So they started producing receipts. So the staff was recording, inmates were recording, like everybody was sending stuff to the lawyer's office, right? Basically like silently supporting her and saying, no, you're telling the truth. Like they're playing in your faces. Now, what I thought was very, very clever was that, and I'm gonna go on Amazon and look this up. The staff had pens that were recorders, and they will mail that to the office. I mean, that's brilliant. And see, this is why I hope they have a season 2, because I hope they show some of that stuff because I want to hear it. And Todd talks about how 14 staff members left when everything started coming out. That's already a sign. Now, here's where I got emotional. Todd was basically talking about his fight for the inmates that are still in there, and they were showing letters that the inmates sent to him. And I paused to read the letter. And to see grown men showing appreciation for him, how much he's changed their lives, how grateful they are that he came into their lives. I really got teary-eyed. And this is what I'm going to say. Sometimes, whatever you believe, God, the universe, uses people. Like, that had to have been the lowest place that Todd was in, right? And in his lowest and his darkest hours, he's saving people. And I saw a Tamara Hall interview that they did, and he said that Todd said that since he's been home, he had 38 people he's helped to be freed. And I'm assuming these are non-violent offenders, you know? And sometimes in your darkest hour is where you find your purpose. And that is a testament right there. Because he could have just gone home, been back in his luxuries, but the fact that he is not forgetting about these men, it's incredible. However you feel about this family is incredible. And I say, before you judge them, what are you doing? I know I'm not helping to free people. You know, I know I'm not doing that. So I show a lot of grace, because that's not an easy thing to do, right? And he doesn't have to use his celebrity status to do this. He could have just gave them a bunch of lip service and left. But it's quite interesting that now Todd has a newfound purpose. So I have no choice but to respect that, you know? All right, so we have Chase going to go visit Nanny Faye. And as usual, I love how they greet each other. She's like, "You so sweet, pumpkin. You look good." Like how they embrace each other is wonderful. And you could tell that Nanny Faye is also settled. Nanny Faye's like, "They don't need me no more. Her house is a mess. She don't care." Now, Lifetime, why y'all had to show that lady's bras? Why? For what? I was like, no, they did not show her bras hanging on the door. They were clean, but I was like, okay, y'all doing too much. Y'all doing too much. But I love the love that Chase and Nanny Faye showed to each other. So Chase, this is where I'm gonna get on you again. Chase is talking about how he has not been going over to the house because of Savannah, because Savannah makes it uncomfortable. Chase, that is your parents. Your parents have been... Now, okay, let me back up. I understand Chase feeling uncomfortable because he doesn't want to be in an environment where maybe it's tension or it's toxic. But if your father has basically told Savannah, "My children are welcome wherever I am," then you should basically go in and be like, "You know what, let me just ignore Savannah and deal with my parents, because I've not seen them free in a very long time," right? But Chase is so focused on Savannah that he's letting that prevent him from seeing his parents, you know? I also do like that Todd is not trying to get caught up in I'm siding with this child, I disagree with this child. I like that he's not getting caught up in it. And he's like, "Look, y'all need to figure it out, because I'm not going to alienate one child because of how the other child feels." I feel like that's a really good boundary. But what really was sad was Chase was like, "We don't have a relationship. We don't speak. I just want her to leave me alone." And Nanny Faye, she does a really good job of being neutral, because Nanny Faye is like, she just wants you to get to a better place. And Chase is like, how does she know what kind of place I'm in when we don't even speak? Now, he's got a point. He's got a point. But I will say this, Chase, it doesn't really take a rocket science to say you're not in a good place. You could tell by how you look. Like Cardi B said, how do you know she's big? Okay. I'm also going to say this. While I admire Todd's work and the crusade and the purpose he's on, because I almost imagine it like a pastor. Don't be so focused on the crusade, Todd, that you are so busy for your children and you neglect your children in the process. Do you all see what I'm trying to say? It's like he's doing press conferences and interviews and taping and blah, blah, blah. That you don't want to be too busy for your children, because now you have your newfound purpose. But yes, you still got to fight for your children. You know, again, I compare it to pastors' kids. They're busy trying to save the world, and PKs, preacher kids, they end up getting like the scraps, right? Because they teach them the bigger purpose is the congregation. So, I just hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, I like Todd's stance on Chase, I'm gonna get in your butt. You're gonna get yourself together. Like he's not playing about Chase. I will say this though. I'm guilty of the I'm sorries and expecting everything to smooth over. I used to be like Chase. I used to feel like, well, I can't change the past. I said I'm sorry, so let's just move on. And what Chase has to understand, which I learned to understand, not everybody is, just because you say sorry doesn't mean that people are just going to jump to where you are and be like, okay, cool, let's be good now, right? I had to learn that, yeah, you said sorry and you apologize, but they're going to need a minute to come around, and you might need to give them a minute. And I've had to learn that, so I think Chase needs to learn that you've said sorry, okay, but just back up, and give her a minute. But they both speak very harshly of each other, which I think is it's not cool. So we've got Jody and Chase is doing an ET interview. I don't know if this is a good idea, but again, remember in the last episode, Chase felt away because his family did an interview and did not include him. And again, I feel like they were trying to protect him because did you want people to talk about your legal stuff? Anyway, so before they begin the interview, the producer asks Chase or the showrunner, I'm sorry, how many months sober are you? He goes, 4 months. Lie. That's a lie. Listen, I used to work with this population. I know a lie when I see it. When he says 4 months, give it maybe a month and a half. He was not telling the truth. I'm telling you, he should not have sat on that couch to do the interview. He was not telling the truth. He still looks unwell. Chase looks like he needs a good bath, a good shower, a good therapist, a good psychiatrist, a good wellness treatment center. Like he needs to go to like a wellness / rehab place, just away from the noise, and just do yogas in the morning and therapy in the afternoon and addiction education in the evening, and then a group session before bed, and do some journaling and self-help, like you know what I mean? Like he needs, anyway, whatever. Anyway, so we don't get to hear the interview, but we do hear him talk about how, Jody has been supportive, and if Jody was not there in his darkest hour, he wouldn't be here. And Jody did say she met him at the lowest point of his life, and she's very proud of him. And I will say this, I still don't understand why they don't like this girl. She's not enabling him, right? Like she's not saying, oh, so what if he has a couple drinks here and there? She's not saying that. She recognizes there's only so much she can do. She tried to change his diet. He wouldn't listen. Now, she could also say, you know what, Chase, I think before we get married, let's get you together first. We don't need to rush. So she could do that. But the more Jody was talking about Chase, I'm like, why don't they like this girl? She doesn't seem toxic. We don't see any scenes of them fighting or her yelling at him unless, why are they not embracing her? But I like Jody. I'm like, she seems like a supportive, encouraging, loving girlfriend. Isn't that what you want for your child? But anyway, yeah, so that's how it ends. So there's one more episode that I'm going to review, and then I'll be back. So again, I see I have new subscribers. Thank you so much. I'm just really trying to grow this channel. Every subscriber means so much. Thank you for rocking with me. If you found me through the show or other means, I sincerely apologize. What am I apologizing for? I'm sincerely grateful. Leave a comment, a like. I appreciate the last comments. I try to respond to them in a timely manner, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.